Welcome back again. And in the previous lecture, we started building our first Android project. And trust me, it takes quite a long time to create the first project when you install Android Studio for the first time and you try to create your first Android project. And for me, it took almost 15 minutes to configure everything. And now Android Studio actually finished whatever it was doing, and now you see that there is no loading bar or there is a tick mark over here. It says no problems found. So if Android Studio able to create our project, then you will see this tick mark over here which says no problem found. And in this Android Studio, there are lots of windows, lots of buttons. Don't worry, don't freak out. If I start telling everything about every person, then probably you can't remember. So I'm not going to explore everything at the first place, because at some point I will be talking about each of these sections when the time is right. But for now, if you see something like that, so at the right side you see that this is a what's new section. That means we have installed Android Studio Ladybug. It is some documentation about Ladybug. That means what's new in Ladybug, new features, and so on and on. And you can close this window by pressing this assistant button and press one more time, then this window will be open once again. And now if you see that we have some codes written in a special file called mainActivity.kt. So definitely this is a Kotlin file. These are Kotlin codes. As you can see, we have a class, we have a parent class, and also we have an overridden method which says on create. And also we have some other stuffs. These are just Kotlin functions. These are the trailing lambdas. If you remember about the trailing lambdas from the Kotlin programming language section, and maybe I told you at that time that we will see that trailing lambda all over in Android project. And also we have some composable functions. That means as a function that is annotated with composable, and you will eventually learn that these composable functions are meant to be show the user element on our screen or mobile screen. So I'm not going to discuss about everything whatever written in this file, and eventually I will do that maybe in the upcoming lectures. And also you will see another left panel over here, and you can open or close this panel by pressing this button. So if you press once, that will be hidden, and if you press again, then this section will be open. And this is actually the file structure, and you see there are two sections. One's at the top you have this app folder, and if we expand, then you will see other folders inside this app. And also if I expand this Gradle script, you will see some other files. And this is actually the project structure, and all our Kotlin files that we will create later will be inside this Kotlin plus Java directory. And as you can see, there is 3 folders under this Kotlin plus Java directory, and the folder names actually resembles the name of the package name. And there are 3 folders actually with the package name, but for the last 2 you see that this package actually will contain all the file regarding the Android test. That means the instrumentation or UI testing. And this folder, if I expand these 2, so this folder will contain all the necessary Kotlin files that is that regards to unit testing. But we are only interested in this first folder, and inside this folder you'll see that there is our mainActivity.kt file. So if you close this file, you can open the main activity.kt file by pressing or double click this main activity.kt file, and it will be opened once again. So before I go through the file structures and what they do, I just want to run this application because you already have seen that there are a few codes, and we can actually run this application whenever we have chosen the template. For example, the Jetpack Compose template, if you remember, like this template over here. So we have chosen this template, and according to our choice, these codes have been generated, and this is like a starter project code. So if we run this application now, we will see something on our mobile screen. And in the last lecture, we have created an emulator, and that is shown here. So from this drop down, you'll see that this is the emulator that we have created, and you will find a play button, and by pressing this button, we can actually run this application with this selected device. That means Pixel 7 API 35. And here at the very last right side, there is also a column, and here you will find device manager, and if you click that, so you will find our emulator. So before you run the application, you can actually open the emulator or run the emulator, and then you can run the application. Or if you run the application first before running the emulator, then what Android Studio will do, it will first open the emulator and then run the application, build and compile the application to this device, and then we'll be able to see the app on this device. So I'm going to hit this play button because I want to open or run the emulator first, and since it is the first time, then it will also take some time to open or boot up the emulator. So let's hit this play button, and by default the emulator will run or appear within this Android Studio, within this device, this section over here, running devices. So whatever device is running and connected with Android Studio will be seen here. You can close this window. Okay, we need to press this allow access. So whatever device is connected and running, that will appear here, and you can close this window by pressing this button over here. So this Android Studio is trying to connect to this emulator. Like I said before, it will take some time because we're doing this for the first time. But after that, on the consecutive run, that will not take that much time, and you will see that. So as you can see, our emulator is starting from scratch, just like we brought a phone from market and trying to open or start this device. And as you can see that our emulator is up and running, and it looks like a normal phone. This emulator has YouTube installed, the photos, the Gmail, and also the Play Store. You can use this device like any device you use, the real device or the Android phone, but you cannot make call or receive SMS. But you can surf, you can open the browser, you can browse internet, and this emulator is now connected with my device Wi-Fi. And make sure that this emulator is working correctly. You can simply scroll up to see the launcher pads. That means these are the apps that has been installed by default, and I can interact with this emulator smoothly. So at that point, now it's time to install this application on this emulator, and to do so I have to click this play button. So let's hit, and as you can see at the bottom of Android Studio, it says Gradle build running. So what is actually a Gradle? So while this app installs in this emulator, let me talk about Gradle. A Gradle is actually an open source build automation tool which automates various tasks involving in building your app, like compiling the codes, running tests, generating APKs, and managing libraries. And the summary is Gradle is actually a tool. This tool is not only used in Android, but Gradle is used in other frameworks too. And the main purpose of this tool is to build our application. So whatever code we write, whatever asset we use, like images and audio files and video files and normal text files, so whatever resources we gather in our project, and whenever we try to run that project or try to build that project, that Gradle does all the heavy liftings. That means it will do the compilation, collect all the source codes, all the resources, then it will compile our code and build the APKs or application packages, and this APK file is actually installed on our device. Besides this compilation code or compiling code, we can run unit tests and a lot of other stuffs by using Gradle. And typically in Android Studio, whenever we create a new Android project, there are two types of Gradle file. One is the project level and another one is the module or app level Gradle file. And you will see in later stages that we need some external libraries or dependency that we need to download from other source and integrate that libraries inside our project. And there also Gradle plays a very crucial part, and all the libraries or dependencies we add them inside the build.gradle files. And also we need sometimes to add plugins, and also we add those plugins inside those build.gradle files. So in summary, Gradle is a tool that actually automates various tasks involving in our building our application, compiling our codes, gather all the resources and generating the APK files, and then run our project to our Android device. And in the meantime, as you can see that Gradle actually finished its build process, but somehow this installation failed, and with suggested action it says we should retry. Or whenever this kind of situation occurs, we can check these buttons. We can click this run button, and this button will only be visible once we hit this run button, and there is nothing. We can go to this build button to see whether the build is successful or not. So the build process actually successful. Gradle actually finished all the processes, but somehow on this device our application failed to install, and this is very suspicious, and I'm not sure why it happened. Maybe it happens, it's happening for the first time, maybe it's missing something, and that's what we are actually going to find out, because you always have to be ready for this kind of situation, because you will not install Android Studio every day or every month. So as far as I remember, last time I checked, I installed Android Studio maybe over an year ago, and then I updated Android Studio through the JetBrains toolbox. For this course purpose, I needed to uninstall everything and then install to show you the process of installation. So it was a long time ago I actually did the installation things, and during this time maybe many things has been changed. This kind of situation I am not aware of, but don't worry, whenever there is a problem there is a solution, and we need to solve it either by looking at the documentations or searching over internet and so on. So don't worry, currently we have a problem, and trust me, I don't know what the problem is, but I will come back with the solution and the reason also why this application actually failed to install.